All right, that means we are officially ready to begin.
You gotta leave a little bit of room at the start of the recording.
All right, everyone, we're gonna stare at each other in silence for 5 seconds. You ready? Awesome! Welcome everyone to the Frame Fatales Q&A at SGDQ 2023. My name is Char Bunny. I'll be your host for this panel. I am also the host lead for Fatales, so this works out really well. You only have to remember one thing about me. If you want to remember a second thing, it's that I like bunnies. Very important. Would you like to introduce yourself next?
Hello, my name is Corva May. I'm the tech lead for Frame Fatales, and I will not be your tech for this panel. That's the people down there.
Shout out to the tech team!
Yay!
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Air Angel, and I technically was the social media for Frame Fatales, but I am transitioning to a new role for remote volunteer coordinating, and I'm also doing financial stuff for GDQ. So from memes to money, as they say in the business, I guess.
It's Air's job to make sure that I don't get stuff.
Yeah, and that you get paid, so.
That part is good. I am actually really into that part.
We have some great teamwork here. It's time for everyone in the audience to introduce themselves. I'm going to have you all just shout out your name on the count of 3, and that'll work for us. We'll definitely pick it all up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
I heard everything.
All right,
Yep.
we will now
That was
refer to
great.
you, instead of as the audience, as your actual name, which is...
Yes, is that Gaelic?
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Feel free to take a seat if you're joining us late. We welcome everyone to participate. So once again, we are Frame Fatales, and let's talk about what we do. So Frame Fatales is an all-women speedrunning community. We put on events twice a year, similar to GDQ. And similar to GDQ, we get custom names for each of those. So instead of Awesome Games Done Quick and Summer Games Done Quick, we get Flame Fatales and Frost Fatales. Frost Fatales usually takes place in the winter. I know, shocking, usually after a GDQ. Flame Fatales will be our next event upcoming August 13th through the 20th, I believe, and so that's going to be after SGDQ. Really excited for that one. Since 2019, when we started doing charity marathons, we've raised over $650,000 for charity, which is really exciting. I know that we're going to raise more than that through GDQ today, but for our event, that's something we're really proud of. It's awesome to feel like we're making a difference with our community and our speedrunning goals. Looking at some more statistics, these are just some fun numbers. I won't go through all of these, but it's really exciting to us that we have so many people who are excited to watch our events with us. Our last event, we raised over $150,000 from Malala Fund, which was an event PB for us, so that was really exciting. Thank you, appreciate it. And we're really excited to be raising money from Malala Fund again coming up with Flame Fatales. They've been a really close partner of ours, and we've really appreciated their collaboration. If you're interested in joining, Frame Fatales is a space for you if you identify as a woman in any way that is meaningful to you. All women, cis, trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming are welcome to join. Basically, if you think it applies to you, it does. Congratulations, you passed the non-existent test. And you don't have to be a speedrunner to join in. We have plenty of people who are just interested in volunteering with speedrunning events from all the different roles that we have available, who are just interested in playing video games, who just want to be more up to date on when our events are. Any of that, you're welcome to join. We've got things for you. If you're not already part of the community and you're interested in joining, you can either email framefatales@gamesdonequick.com or you can DM our Twitter account and we'll make sure to get you an invite code. It is a private server because we try to make it a very safe space, so please do reach out to us if you're interested in joining. How do you get involved in events? Well, if you've been at GDQ, you've been able to see a whole bunch of different volunteers running around backstage, sitting in different chairs, at computers, doing stuff, looking awesome. You can do that for our events too, which is really fun. So if you've been volunteering at GDQ and want to do more of that, or if you haven't tried it yet, but you're looking for a reason to try out some of the volunteering roles and you're part of our community, you qualify for our server, then you can help us out with our events. One, of course, you can submit speedruns. We do need speedruns for a speedrunning event. As it turns out, kind of a helpful part of things. Submissions had just closed, I believe, for our next event, but volunteering submissions, I believe, are opening after GDQ. So if you are just hearing about this and you're like, wow, I'd love to volunteer for, I don't know, the hosting team, because they sound really awesome and cool, and they must have someone really awesome leading them. Applications will be open for that soon, so you can go ahead and look out for those. We actually have 2 different types of roles for us. We have remote and in-person roles. So for our event, it is an online event, but we do have a studio crew that's going to help us run some of the most critical functions, things like the audio board, the stream tech, our producers are in studio. That group gets to travel with us to the GDQ studio, which is kind of a cool place to be. I've enjoyed visiting it.
And you get to work in my department, which is either good or bad, depending on how you feel about it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty fun. So remote or in person are both options. So that's a really cool thing. Remote roles will include things like hosting, donations, social media, a whole bunch more chat mods, things like that. Again, our next event is Flame Fatales 2023, running August 13th through the 20th. So it's a ways away, but it's going to come up pretty soon once we get into this planning phase. If you've ever tried to plan an event, you know that time flies as it gets closer to that. So we're really excited.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's close.
It's close. It's coming up.
We've been having conversations. It's close. If you are an ally, so if you do not qualify for a server, but you still want to support our community, thank you so much. That's so appreciated. Some key things you can do are help share our social media posts. When you see us talking about FF events, tell your friends about it. Let them know what's happening. Help promote and encourage our speedrunners. You can also encourage women that you know in your community to submit to FF events as runners or volunteers or just to join our server. We have a really supportive environment. It's been really fun to get to meet like so many fatales over the event. We have a table this event. We get our little ribbon for our badges so we can find each other, which has been really fun. Yeah, if you're in the audience and you have a badge, feel free to like show off. Ooh, look at that. Let's go. And then, of course, watching our events and donating when you can. That is the biggest way to support us, is to be there for our events, see our speedrunners, be there in the chat, be there donating. It's so appreciated. It's so helpful. We do see when that happens, and we really love it. So thank you so much to everyone who watches and supports our events. With that, I think that kind of covers the overall idea of our event, what we do. Is there anything you two would like to add before we go to open questions from the audience?
No, I don't have. Do you have anything?
I guess I just want to say first, Frame Fatale started off very, very, very small community, just like a handful of people. You know, we're just trying to vibe, trying to do our thing. And it has grown exponentially. Like our Discord server just exploded, especially over the last like 2 years. Me personally, I was a part of basically when they opened the invites in 2019 for like the week-long event. I was a baby speedrunner. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I didn't know what GDQ was. I was just like, I know what speedrunning was, and they're like, oh, Game's Done Quick. I'm like, what's that? And then I'm like, holy cow, I'm gonna be on Twitch with 15,000 viewers. So like, and then from there we started our first, started raising money for Malala Fund, Frost Fatales 2020. So the first one was just like trying it out, and then the Frost Fatales 2020 is when we started raising money for Malala Fund. And yeah, I don't know, it's just been really cool to see it evolve so far.
It has been fantastic. We've had some great event over event growth as our community grows, as the group supporting us grows. But it's nice that we're still small enough that we get a lot of flexibility with things. So we can try our own things. We have some leeway to do things just differently from mainline GDQ. So I think some of our prize segments were maybe a little unhinged. Spamton may have made it some appearances.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be able to bring that.
We write our own copy.
It's nice to be able to bring some of that energy. So at this point, if there are any questions in the audience, please feel free to come up and use that microphone. It's unmuted. I was looking over to check. Great job on this. You're doing a fantastic job. If any would be brave enough to ask a first question, that'd be much appreciated. It can be the most trivial question you think of. It's just important that someone starts us off.
And
Yes,
if
please come on up.
Yay.
Thank you.
feel free, if you also have a question, to start forming a single file line behind the microphone. You do not have to wait for the microphone to be empty to walk up to it. Well, okay, to walk up to it, yes, but get near it,
No, just like stand right behind them.
don't do that.
Cool. Hi, guys. I'm Pacific, or Cece.
Hello.
My question for you, it's so cool how far Frame Fatales has come in the past few years. So just imagining you guys had like infinite resources and stuff, like where would you see the community in like the next 5 years? Like events or things that you really want to do, or like brand new stuff, or things that you want to lean in more that you already do?
Can I start first?
Yes, ma'am.
So we are actually looking into another nonprofit to work with. Like obviously, AGDQ, SGDQ are two different, like Doctors Without Borders and Prevent Cancer Foundation. So like right now, we've only been benefiting Malala Fund, but this summer we're actually reaching out to like a handful and like doing presentations with various charities. So we are branching out to having two, so we can, you know, have a little bit of differentiation in our branding. So that's like the newest thing that I can tell you that we are hopefully going to get response back with that. What do you think?
Well, the obvious one to me would be doing an in-person event, because all of our events currently are online. And so being able to do at least one in-person event a year, mainly so that the community can meet up in person more than just at mainline events. And there's also, the other thing is that part of the goal of Frame Fatales is to train women to be able to do things or have the knowledge to do more roles in the speedrunning community at large, including at mainline. And so there are a lot of roles, especially in like tech and infrastructure, that are not really relevant to an online marathon, but are extremely relevant to an in-person marathon, just because the production is set up very differently. And being able to give people that opportunity by doing an on-site event, I think would be very cool, but it does require a lot of time and resources, which is, who can say?
Yep.
Yeah, and May got my answer as well. One of the things we've been looking at is that in-person event, but
Stole
that
it.
does take, we'd have to reserve a location, we'd have to pay a bunch of upfront fees, get the internet all sorted, because that's always a fun one. So that does take a little bit more than I think we are able to commit for our next few events, but something really excited to look into in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking a question.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next question from the audience.
Well, we got a couple. Yeah, buddy.
Let's go.
Hello.
Hi.
So I do have a dumb question. You keep mentioning the Malala Fund. I'm unfamiliar with that charity. Can you tell me more about them?
That is a great question. Yes, Malala Fund supports women's education worldwide. So there are many locations in the world where women are banned from getting an education, or there are huge obstacles in the way of them getting an education. Malala Fund supports women worldwide. And they do this locally as well. So similar to how MSF has a bunch of local doctors, they can respond really quickly in emergencies. Malala Fund works with local teams that understand the needs of that specific region, because it's never one size fits all when it comes to education or when it comes to global politics. So it's a really fantastic cause. It fits in fantastically with our mission, and so we've been really proud to be able to support them. And we say we're reaching out to other charities, it's not because they've been a problem to work with. They've been fantastic. We are so fortunate they've worked with us for all these events. I think we just wanted to make sure we give people a little bit more variety going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Thank God we had Char there who's read the Malala
Who's
Fund
read that
statement
blurb
so many times.
for 2
There's
years.
a specific quote that I'm trying to come up with from it, and I'm blanking on it.
Sure.
Like, we've done this event a number of times, and I've been a host for it before I was host lead, and there is the Malala Fund, a Malala Fund blurb there that I should have memorized by now. So ask me next
I
time
thought
we do
that's
a
what you
panel.
were
and
doing.
just go. No, that's just the general description.
She's too good.
You got to learn and lead, Char.
This is my job. Next question, please.
Hello. This is a bit of a follow-up about the in-person events. How far along is discussion about that, and how many plans is there currently for that, or is it mostly set in hypothetical at the moment?
So we can't talk a lot about specifics, but I will tell you we have brought on so many more staff members, even in the past year. So like we're building our staff and we're solidifying our process right now. I would say maybe 2024, 2025, but TBD.
Definitely something we're actively looking into, actively discussing, but no
Yeah.
timelines can be committed at this point.
Yeah.
That's my day job speaking. Not committing to
Bless
timelines
her.
unless I have one.
No further questions. Wait, no, we need more.
Feel free to come up with your next question. Again, it can be a serious question. It can be a little bit of a silly question. We love memes at our events.
We love silly questions here.
I'm actually really notorious for being super serious, so
Yes, obviously.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
hi, friend.
Hi.
Just hypothetically, say you wanted to get into Fatales, but you've never speedran before. Is there anything within the Discord that people can go to and join?
Thank you for the softball pitch here.
I got you.
Well, Char, you're running that now, right?
No, definitely not.
What?
But I can talk about it if you'd like me to.
No, I can. So we have a thing called Game of the Month, which is a bit of a misnomer because it's Game of the every other month.
Yes.
But so
months.
essentially, the way it works right now is people pitch a game that they know and are willing to teach others, and then everyone votes on which one they want to do for the next 2 months, and then and then you can go in, and it's a completely optional thing. You don't have to do it, and they will give resources and help answer questions for people to learn that run. And so there's a lot of people in the community who have learned different runs through Game of the Month and then done them at marathons. We always get Game of the Month submissions. It's super cool to see. And you also it's also a good opportunity to be able to meet other people in other parts of speedrunning that you wouldn't have necessarily met otherwise.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
One
And
thing
we also have randomizer channels too.
That is true.
So if you were looking to learn a randomizer, like literally anything apparently anything can be randomized. Like today I learned, or yesterday I learned, I guess. But yeah, Game of the Months are super cool. We post it on the @FrameFatales Twitter if you want to keep up to date with it if you're not in the Discord. And a lot of us just casual playthroughs too. Like some games like, no, I don't want to run this, but heck, I'll give it a shot, you know?
I believe the randomizer channel also is doing regular multi-worlds.
Yeah.
If people are interested in that, then that's blown up recently. People have
Yeah.
gotten really, really into those. It's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I want to add on to there with the community aspect is there's been some people that I've met through Game of the Month because there'll be a co-op game. So I had never played Stardew Valley before, but when I saw it posted, it's like, that game has bunnies in it. I'll try it out.
It has rabbits.
Right, it does. It turns out I gave up on it casually because it took too long for me to get the rabbits. And I
Oh my
got frustrated.
goodness, this is the most on brand.
But I did learn a speed run where you try to get to level 50 in the mines as quickly as possible. And one of the cool things is you can do that co-op. And so I was able to partner with someone who I'd met through the community, and we got to do the run together for a month. And that was just really fun to have someone else there speedrunning. So often speedrunning is a solo adventure, and it was really cool just to try things out in a more co-op fashion. I'll also say that one of the things that was also cool about that is that same person invited me to do commentary when we did a showcase of all of our different games of the month. So we had someone from the community run every game of the month that we've done so far. And I got to commentate for Waluigi's Taco Stand.
And that was my Game of the Month suggestion.
It was so good.
I'm so
That's
happy.
also super on brand.
If you haven't
Sorry, not sorry.
if you haven't seen it, one, you should look up Waluigi's Taco Stand on the GDQ channel because the VOD is there and it's really fun. But just the hint about it is that it's a Super Mario 64 fan game, but with Waluigi and a taco stand. And I have further details if you'd like them. I won't take up the panel time on that. But the other thing I was going to talk about with community, I know I'm just like derailing into multiple points here, is we have a buddy system. So if you're looking at speedrunning in our event, right now our policy is that all on-air talent qualify for our server. This means that everyone from the people running to the games, to the hosts, to the commentators, are all members of the community, and therefore we can support each other. It creates a very safe space where you sort of know what to expect. Understandably, though, there are many speedrunning communities out there where you may be the only one who qualifies for our server. So I run Super Mario Maker for Nintendo 3DS. I do not know of any other women who run that game. There's only 3 other active runners of it. They're all great, but they wouldn't be qualified to commentate for Frame Fatales. But we have what's called the buddy system. So if you sign up for our events, we can actually pair you with someone else from the community who will help learn your run and commentate it with me. And so Jen, the person who I did Stardew Valley co-op with, who invited me to commentate for Waluigi's Taco Stand, I originally met her because she was my commentary buddy for Super Mario Maker. And I remember being so nervous about that because I didn't know her ahead of time and what to expect. It turned out to be so much fun. We went off each other really well when we were trying to figure out if we were saving or killing Yoshi, because obviously that's a decision to make in the run. And it was just fantastic to have this way to meet people in an online community, because sometimes that can be difficult. I'm super introverted, even if I don't sound like it. So if you see me at the event, I'm usually hiding and like going from one place to the other. Feel free to come say hi to me, though, if you'd like. But I think it's great that we have not only Game of the Month, not only randomizers, but also this buddy system, this way of meeting more friends in the community and just branching out in terms of speedrunning.
And just one thing I want to quickly reiterate about the buddy system is that, once again, you do not have to actually speedrun anything to be a buddy.
Yes.
Commentary and running is very different. I think it's a very different skill set. And if you think that you would be good at commentary, or even if you just want to maybe become better at commentary, you can still become a buddy.
Yes.
Awesome. I think we're ready for our next question. I know I took like 10 minutes on that one, but next question, please. Yay.
This is kind of an open-ended question, but I'm just curious to hear what you all really love, what your favorite thing about this community is.
Sounds good. Would either of you like to start?
You could go first.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you sure you
I
got
get
this?
to go first. Okay. I think my favorite thing about the community is that feeling of collaboration. Like I said, speedrunning so often feels like an individual endeavor, but when we come together to produce these events, it's such a team effort. And so from when we're meeting as leads and we're in those meetings, my day job at work is a position that involves a hecking ton of meetings. I'm trying to think of how to say that politely. And a lot of those meetings, I walk out of feeling like, why did we do this? This was so boring. I don't think this was useful. When we have our leads meetings, I walk out of those feeling so excited because all of us really care about what we're doing and what we're moving towards. When we're in the middle of the events, I'm helping the host team. it's such a collaborative effort to go, how can I make sure I'm supporting the people who are doing things right now? So if the host needs something, how do I help them? And I think that feeling of working together, raising over $150,000 from Malala Fund, that's a huge, huge, meaningful amount for them. That's the feeling that I live for with these events, that feeling of collaboration. That's why I'm here. So that's my answer.
For me, it's the thing that I think is the coolest about what we're doing with FF is a lot of the training aspects and those goals. So one of the goals of FF, as I mentioned before, is to give more women experience in the various aspects of running a speedrunning marathon. And so it's honestly very similar to how GDQ eventually started, where there were a bunch of people who didn't necessarily have a lot of experience in the specific roles that were required to put on one of these things, who just kind of figured it out as they were going, and then became very, very good at it. And we're able to provide that same sort of growth path,
We're
I
in
guess.
anime now.
Yes, we're in our growth arc, and to a more diverse group of people, and to just another group of people, because when people get good at things, it's good to let them keep doing the things they're good at, but it does mean that they get entrenched in roles. And I think that a big, nice thing about doing 2 more events a year that are women-led is that we are getting women in roles that would have already been filled, or there just isn't a path to learn these things because the best way to learn them is to do them. And now people have an opportunity to do that. Like, I personally have learned a ton of stuff about broadcasting, specifically by doing events with FF. And now I'm able to take that outside of FF and do other things on the side. And that has been really important to me personally in terms of just doing work that I enjoy and love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's really hard to find a group of women with like interests. My undergrad was in mathematics, so not a whole lot of women there. My career has been in tech and software and renewable energy, not a whole lot of women there. And then obviously the speedrunning communities, we're probably 20% at this point. So it's just really nice to hype each other up, women for women, and it's just super empowering to see people lighting up a room because they're just so excited about something together. We just decided to do this thing, and now it's just getting bigger and bigger, and it's just, I don't know. I don't get a whole lot of women's spaces, especially even in my day-to-day job. I'm probably one of 5 women out of 70 people in my in my company. So, working with these lovely ladies has been the highlight of the last 3 years. So thank you for that question.
Everyone is just so excited to be here and pitch in and just contribute in general, and it's incredible to see every time.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, next question. If you're feeling nervous, again, you're not the first one to come to the microphone, and you make us really happy when you ask us questions we can answer, or questions we can't answer, either.
Yeah.
All right. I'll start with an easy one and then a hard one.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
okay.
All right.
What's your favorite Pokemon?
Oh, Charmander, that's my username.
Mantine?
I always forget it's not Drifloon, though.
Togepi.
I could
Awesome.
multitudes.
All right, now the hard one. What's the hardest challenge you faced in each of your lead roles, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, God.
Yeah,
You really buried the lead on that one. Okay.
All right. I'll go first because this one's easy for me. So back in the days of, I believe it was Frost 2022, maybe? When did we met, Shar? Was it 21 or 22?
it's a great
I
question.
feel like it's
that I'm not
21.
gonna answer
Anyways,
on the
so
spot.
once upon a time, there's an individual that ran this entire thing. When I say the entire thing. And then she asked me to become the social media person. I don't know why. I don't know how I got this job, but it just kind of happened. So I was like, sure. And then so we had a social media person and then someone that did literally everybody else. That person has since been let go for various reasons that I will not go into. But it was 3 weeks before the event. Me and Court, AKA Frozen Flygon, we were there in the studio and we're like, yo, dog. So we're just gonna figure this out. We're gonna do this live. And then Mikey Yama was there with us. He's like, what are your incentives? Like, do you have goals? And we're like, what are those? And that was, I guess that's like sort of behind the curtain kind of thing. But that's also when I met Broseph. I met Char. Like we all like came together that one week and just like made it happen. That was probably the hardest week of my life in terms of like this. And since then we've expanded the leads. We've like have a bona fide games committee and stuff like that. But like trying to just figure it out on your own was really scary. But again, super empowering. Like afterwards we came out, we made more money than we did before, and we came out stronger for it. And now we're just freaking awesome, so.
All right, I'm not going to give a specific answer because that'll just probably be something super technical.
Sure.
And I will be like, and then like
over
this
my head.
happened, and then it was this routing issue, and so the hardest thing for me personally is the fact that we have two goals that we're trying to balance, and it goes back to what I said before. One is to put on a good event and raise money for charity, and the other is to give people opportunities. And so when we pick our volunteers to work in the studio to do all the tech roles, we need a group of people. We need some people who are experienced and can help train other people, and we need some people who are new and need that experience. And finding that balance is very difficult because if you tilt too far in one direction, then we're not meeting the goals of the event.
Yeah, I think from the hosting side, one of the things with hosting is that you're live, right? When you're up there on the microphone, you're reacting as things are happening and you're doing your best, and you're never going to be perfect. And I think the hardest thing that I've had to deal with is when people feel disappointed after their hosting shifts. Like my biggest goal with the host team is that when you walk out of that, well, you're in your house because it's remote, but when you sign out of the Discord, you finish your shift, I want you to feel like you did a great job. I want you to feel like you were successful. I want you to feel like you contributed to the event. Sometimes things happen, right? There's so much I try to do to prepare ahead of time with the event. I try to make sure we cover in orientations. I try to be there to support, but tech is cursed sometimes. Things can be on fire. A mistake can happen. And so the challenging moments for me are the ones when someone comes up to me and says, Char, I don't think that was a good shift, or I'm frustrated after my shift or something happened. But at the same time, those are the most important ones for me because thankfully they came up and talked to me. Thankfully they let me know because that's my opportunity to help them and to help everyone else in the future. So, well, oh my goodness, I'm gonna start crying thinking about some of these. Like, I want everyone to have such a good time and just things happen. It's very important to me that we make things better. So I appreciate those moments as much as they sometimes break my heart.
Yeah, honestly, I'd like to reiterate that too. Like if somebody comes up, if somebody after shift is like, that shift, everything went wrong, but I feel okay about how we did, that's amazing. That's the best thing I could hope for. If somebody comes up after a shift and was like, I had a terrible time and I don't think I want to do this anymore, that means that means everything has gone wrong and we need to reevaluate super heavily.
Yes.
I would rather have people. I want people. It's much more important to me that people are having or working in a healthy way and not overworking themselves and have the resources they need to succeed than everything being completely perfect on the stream.
Right.
Yeah, one thing to note with our event is we're not 24/7. We're 12/7. Is that even a term?
Sure.
I mean, I
We
guess.
take nights off. So we actually have a sleep block every single day of our event that's 12 hours long. We have great meme names for them. They're always very fun. So like Couch Percent or like 20%.
Yep.
They're great. And what's fantastic about that is it does give ourselves time to take care of ourselves because that is such an important thing for our group. With GDQ, I don't know how much is hitting some of you, but like, I'm definitely getting tired. We're only halfway through. We've got a whole second half of the week to go. With GDQ, it's because every time I go to bed, it's like, oh, but what if I stayed up and watched the next speed run? Like, I want to see that one too because they're all so cool. With Vattel's, the nice thing is you do get that time where it's offline. You just get to rest. You just get to focus on yourself. And I think that's such a helpful thing, especially if it's your first time volunteering or your first time running. Our time resets overnight so we don't get too late or too early in the marathon. There's just a lot of quality of life things that come with that really does tie into our goal of making sure we have a healthy and supportive environment for everyone who joins us.
I did want to add on to that. We originally had a 24-hour event, and then it turned out that we made more money with more quality content with, the 12 hours a day, 7 days a week instead. because that's what we did for Frost 2020, and that was really exhausting. So.
If you are out there and you're like, I'm gonna put on a speedrunning marathon, and you're like, we got to do it 24 hours. Please don't.
Just give it a weekend try.
Yeah, just don't. You could just go to bed,
Yeah,
and everything will be better for it. Trust me on this one.
yeah.
Like this event, I get it. This event, I don't know if you all noticed this. It's a bit big,
Yeah, it's,
but
Maybe a little bit.
smaller events, go to bed.
yeah.
Next question from the audience.
Wow, this is tall.
You can move it. You
Adjust
can
it,
move
but
it,
it
I
might
think.
tilt downward if that.
I'll just be on my tippy toes. That's like my life.
You could do like the singer lean with it.
Oh, you're saving me. Yay.
Whoop. Oh, wow, look at that.
Yay! Thank you, tech team.
So my question is, what are your favorite games to just run casually?
God, actually, I technically now run 3 casually. So Super Mario Maker for Nintendo 3DS. It's important to append that because it is a different speed run. That's my favorite. It's so much fun. I also run Love 3, which is a precision platformer. I was fortunate to get to run that at AGDQ 2023, so that was a huge highlight for me. But both of those are very fun. One of them's 2 hours long, one of them's 10 minutes long. I need to find something in the middle, so we'll get there eventually.
Oh man. Okay. So I mean, I do a lot of Pokemon runs. I like doing a lot of the
Is it
alternate.
not Pokemon typing adventure? That's not the immediate
No,
one.
because I don't run that casually. It's hardcore. Please respect that. Pokemon has a lot of category extensions, and so I like doing I'm gonna try this. One of the major category extensions that a lot of people like to do are called alt mains, where you run the game with a Pokemon that is substandard. And so I like I will sometimes be like, I'm gonna root this silly one and see how it works and how cursed it's gonna be, and I think that's pretty fun.
So my standard is if the game is cute, I'm gonna try to run it. Casually, I tend to play a lot of Hello Kitty or Sanrio focused games and Sailor Moon beat 'em ups. For those of you that were fortunate enough to see the Hello Kitty and Sanrio friends racing, I won't go into it more, but there's a copy pasta in there that's sort of a part of our lore. So if you go back and watch that VOD, I'm sorry, but it's going to be stuck in your head. But yeah, games that aren't that good, but they're cute, I'm there for it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, we have our own event memes in lore at this point.
Yeah.
It gets pretty fun. So Mam's one of them. We got that copy pasta. Plenty of other things too. Next question from the audience? Yes.
Have you ever dated somebody for...
Stop.
Got him. For anyone who is
cut the
not
mic,
in on
cut the mic, cut the mic.
Cut it.
No. I want to clarify that is the meme. I just want
Yeah.
you all to know that you're in on the joke now.
Look,
I can.
I set them up. That was
pretty-
my bad.
that was-
I'm sorry.
It's very nice.
From a speedrunner perspective, do you have any advice that you would like to give prospective women who are looking to get into speedrunning? Any advice that you wish somebody had told you when you started speedrunning?
Yeah, I think go for it. So I remember my first game was Super Mario Maker, and I was so nervous to submit my first IL for it because I had never touched it before. I'd watched GDQs for years, but I hadn't found fatales yet. And so I knew there were some people out there that I wouldn't have wanted to meet in a community, and I didn't know if this community was going to be one of those communities, if you sort of know what I'm talking about there. And I remember I submitted my 5 levels that I'd done. One of them was a world record, the other ones were ties. And then I just spent the next day panicking, because that's how I work. I'm very anxious. And I come back and finally am brave enough to check speedrun.com, and they've all been verified. They're all just done. Okay, oh, I did it. I have a tie, what? And then I checked the comments, and people had said some really nice things from the community. They were really excited for the new trick I found. They were excited to support me. And I just wish I had done that sooner, because I think I got so into my head about the hesitations of what could go wrong, what could happen, what's the worst that could happen here, and actually thinking through that. And that held me back from participating in a community that's actually been incredibly welcoming, despite what I might have expected going in. Fatales, I think, is a great way to get started with that in an even safer community than random Super Mario Maker community on the internet. But that's something that I wish I'd done sooner, and that's what I learned from that first interaction that sort of carried me forward to where I am today.
My advice is, if it sucks, hit the bricks. If you, let me
Would
explain.
you like to elaborate?
If you start a run and it's not clicking with you, you can move on. It's fine. But more importantly, if you want to run a game and you find that the community is not inviting, you don't have to actually be part of that game's community to run the game. You can just find the cool people and hang out with them in like a DM or something, or just if you have other friends who also do runs, or you have other friends who don't do runs but also play video games, hang out in a Discord call and like share your screen and talk while you do a run. Like, you don't have to engage with a community that isn't inviting and welcoming to you to speedrun that game. And eventually, I guarantee that any community like that, there are other people who feel the same way. And it's just a matter of finding those people, which will happen just by doing runs and getting them showcased, by the fact that you overcame that community, like you left that community, but you still cared about the game enough to push through with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess for me, I run very obscure, random, like, Japanese games that no one's ever heard of. Don't be afraid to, like, stick your neck out there. Like, a lot of my runs are just, like, to me, I'm like, why would anyone watch this shit? Like, I don't understand.
Can we say that?
What we look for, we as like the games committee looks for, is someone that has passion, that understands the game, and just like wants to talk about it, you know? Like, it's infectious. If you come in with like this big, like not even big personality, but just like big love for the game, it really shines on screen, no matter how bad your game is or how good it is. Just like try, submit. I mean, we have a couple, you can submit like 3 games in like multiple categories, so it's not like you're only one and done if you feel like it. Also, almost anything can be sort of on there. Like, it could also be a showcase. I also submitted randomizers. I submitted my first link to the past randomizer, which kind of gave me a heart attack, right? Because you don't really have a set route, so it's like you're trying to figure it out live. But that was sort of, for me personally, after speedrunning for like 4 years, that was like my next step of like gaming. Like, how much of a gamer am I? And like, I'm gonna try it. And then like, it ended up fine. And you were there. And it was a lot of fun. But yeah, just give it a shot. Who cares? Just go for gold if you want, you know? And you don't have to submit to speedrun.com if you don't want to. Like, it is not mandatory for you to ever submit on there to be a speedrunner, okay? Like, a lot of us use it as, like, archives, or, like, if you just want it in one place, it's nice, but I do want to preface that because...
You don't even have to upload your VODs. Like, when you submit, if you want to submit a run and it's a link to a Google Docs thing that you only want to share with us...
Your local drive. If you try to submit something, that's the only one.
Yeah, we do need to be able to see it for submissions. That is important. We have not figured out the technology to visualize your run in our mind's eye yet. I'm working on it.
It's a very dangerous security flaw if we ever had that capability. Let me know if you get it, though. Any other questions from the audience? Feel free to come up and take the microphone. Yeah, do you want to go up to the microphone? Tech question, let's go.
Nice.
So what you're saying about the submitting, can I submit like a VHS tape and that would work?
Okay, this is a dangerous question.
Walk all the way around from the tech station to the microphone.
No, okay, I actually, my serious question is...
No, that's the only one
I
we
have
get.
a response, and that is, I think that would rule.
I have a VHS player.
Yes.
I'll bring it.
Awesome. I'll submit my run then.
Just
Okay.
Cool. Just send it to the same place you send prizes. We'll figure it out.
We'll put it in the Hello Kitty television.
Oh, yes.
That would be so cute. I'll love it. So my serious question is, like, how did you break into the speedrunning community?
Yeah, for me it was, I have a whole bunch of goals that I list out for like what I want to accomplish in life. And speedrunning's always been one of those things where I like wanted to do a run at GDQ. That was on my bucket list. I'm sure I'm not the only one who had that on their list. And it had been on my list for a while, but I hadn't really found a game that gelled with me. And Mario Maker's kind of thinking about it. And then the pandemic started. And it turns out I'm looking at my list of goals, and like half of them are no longer possible to do this year. So look down the list, what can I still accomplish from the comfort and safety of my own home? Speedrunning. So I'd watched GDQ for a long time, figured out that the Mario Maker game was one that worked with me and had a couple levels that sort of forced you to speedrun, and I was like, wait, I'm doing it. I did that level fast. I wonder if I could do the other levels fast. And that's how I sort of got started, is submitting those first few videos, finding that community, and then starting to branch out from there. How I got into hosting was the first event where I submitted that speed run and performed that run as part of a very small but very fun marathon. I was like, hosting's kind of cool too. Why don't I just kind of apply for that? And they accepted me. What the heck? That was out of nowhere. So I did that, and then I realized, wait, this is really fun. I really like hosting, so I applied for SGDQ, I think 2021, and got in as a host, and that was my first time hosting for a GDQ event. Don't go find it. It wasn't great because it's my first time hosting for a GDQ event, but it's been really fun to grow since then. And something May talked about as well is by the time I went back to my next GDQ event, I had twice as much experience as everyone who started with me because I'd done a Fatales event, and we run the same system. So it was really cool to see how much I'd grown between two events because I had the experience with Fatales that summer. So that was really cool.
So for me, it's a bit similar. I've been watching GDQ for years and years and years and years and years, but I was always like, man, this is very impressive. I don't think I could do that. I don't understand how they memorize all the things they have to do in the game. There's a thing called notes. I didn't know that existed. And then during the start of the pandemic, I ended up watching a lot more Twitch because what else was I gonna do? And a friend of mine from high school that I was still mutuals with did some runs, and so I saw them on Twitter, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna say hi in their stream, and then I just kept watching and kept being like, actually, I could probably do that. Mainly because I learned that you had notes. I didn't know that you could have notes. I thought you just had to memorize everything. And then from there, I just started applying to different roles. I didn't know what I wanted to. I used to host.
You did?
I used to host.
Yeah, I remember that.
I hated it.
Remember
It is
that.
not the role for me. I don't want to interrupt people.
Sure.
I'm just like, no, you do your thing. You're doing great. I'll be here when you need me. And then at some point, I was talking with, I think I was just talking with Court, and Court was like, mate, you know tech stuff. You should volunteer as a tech role for FF. And I'm like, you can do that?
Yeah.
Whoa. And then apparently I was okay at it, and now I'm here.
For me, so I started speedrunning in 2018. I saw a couple people in the concept, I didn't know what that was. Everyone here that, would look up their Nintendo Power Guide and try to 100% the game or something like that when they're younger. But I think for me, so I started off speedrunning only indie games and games that people didn't really know, and then branched out into the most obscure Hello Kitty's Flower Shop on the NES from 1993. And I think for me, it's almost like a preservation of culture. I feel like video games throughout the years sort of reflects the time and what was going on, the evolving technology and stuff. I used to speedrun Kirby's Adventure, and that was the pushing the bounds of the NES, and to the point where you're like, ooh, we're struggling. Kirby B pushing it hard, and you're like, well, what if they waited to the SNES? And questions like that came up in my mind, and then. So when I first started streaming, I donated I still donate all the profits that I make on stream to charity because it's something I really I don't need personally. And then I guess a word got out that that's something I was passionate about, and they're like, oh, you should check out GDQ. I volunteered for, I think it was, I don't even know if it was called Flame Fatales 2019 at that point, but I know Frost Fatales 2020, I did social media, and they're like, yo, she's funny. And then when Fleet Fatales came around, they're like, hey, we should have a dedicated person on it. Just invite that one person that was funny that one time, give her a job. And bada bing, bada boom, I've been working for GDQ for 3 years. And I don't know, it just, a little luck in terms of getting this job. And then obviously evolving, which I'm very, very excited about. So I am getting my MBA online, and I approached GDQ and was like, hey, I love memes, but I want to further my career, and I would like a really good experience. Let me apply this stuff that I learned in school. And they're like, sure. And then, I don't know, just like stuff kind of evolved, and now I just primarily run really weird old retro games, so. Thank you for the question. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that you came all the way around to ask it too. I feel
Yeah.
like you're special.
You managed to walk away and nothing blew up, so
I didn't touch it, yep.
It's a talent. Next question from the audience.
All right, it took me a couple minutes, right? Do you prefer runs that lean towards heavily executing like from notes or stuff, or ones that have huge variance between runs and you're like routing on the fly?
For me personally, I do not like randomness. I have a plan and I want to follow that plan. That's what I practiced. So my games tend to be very low on RNG. Like Love 3, I don't think we have any RNG. We have some precise things, but nothing that's random. And in Mario Maker, one of the largest sources of randomness is whether or not Bowser Jr. moves left or right, and it's like a second's time difference. So that's the sort of games for me personally, which is weird because I thought I would really like randomizers and stuff because I like knowing things and understanding how things work. But it turns out I like it when it's like how I practiced and the speedrun is within my control to complete. If I make a mistake, it was my bad. If I do something awesome, it's also my good, right? So it's a nice balance for me. I like having that control when I'm in the middle of a run. You run Pokemon, so.
I don't know what I like. I like Run Pokemon, which is an RNG nightmarescape. And then also, I like have run games that are very RNG consistent. I'm like, this is so much better. But then also sometimes I'm like, but there's not the spice to it. It's too consistent. So I bounce back and forth on it. I can't decide. I like both, I guess, in different
very
ways. That's not a satisfying answer, and I'm sorry.
You can like more than one thing, and that's okay.
Yeah.
What?
I know. We're learning so much today.
Wild. I think for me, in terms of if it's a speed run, I like having a designated route, a very linear route. I don't particularly care about RNG, whatever happens, happens. And then I flip side of that, again, I do showcase randomizers. So like as RNG heavy as you can get, but that's also just sort of like a test your might, if you will. Especially with games that, you know, I like grew up with, Link to the Past, and like speedrunning that game and playing that vanilla for so long, you know, you kind of get tired of it sometimes. And then I feel like adding the randomizer aspect almost brings the game back to life, because it's just like beat the game as fast as you can with whatever you got kind of thing. So I don't know. Both.
All right, next question from the audience. I think we have time for maybe two more.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
Sure.
You are welcome to do one of those two. You don't have to worry about saving it for someone else, I promise.
Court,
If
do you have a
not,
question?
So in the back of the room, I don't know if it's showing through on the recording or on stream, but in the back of the room, if you'd like to wave, that is Court or Frozen Flagon as our event lead for Fatales. Runs the entire show. Fantastic to work with. We're really glad to have him.
Court thought that they were just going to sneak in the back and I wouldn't call them out. Can you do it on the mic so that people in the VOD can hear it?
May.
No, that is a legitimate. I'm doing my job. That's a tech concern.
Okie dokie.
How are you three doing today?
Oh,
Tired.
Thank you so much for asking that question. Yeah, tired. It's partway through the event. But
Are you coming to answer your own question? Can we get a mic on Court so that Court can answer their own question?
I said you three. I planned for this.
Man, I got nothing for that.
I'm doing well. It's one of those things where, you know, we're partway through the event. There have been some things that come up that you're not expecting, but at the same time, thank you everyone for being here.
Yeah.
It's been really
Yeah.
fun. I appreciate how many questions we've been getting and things like that. So round of applause for all of you in the audience for making this really fun for me today.
I'm tired, but this event has actually been very informative for a lot of stuff that is important for me to know for the future. So I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, social media department. So this is like my last social media event, but the department has like come such a long way. We used to just do Twitter, but now we do Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, X, Y, and Z, all the different kinds of content now. So it's just really exciting to see it grow. Yes, we're all tired, but just bigger and better things. And all the social media, currently the two other social media staff members are women, and they will be working the Frame Patel events going forward. So, yeah.
Are you going to ask a question?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I have a question for Court. How are you doing today? I figured it out.
You really needed a second there, but I'm proud of you. I'm doing really good today. Today feels like a really good morale day for staff, and the energy of the stream room is really good, and I'm super happy. And a lot of that is because like the viewers are showing up, people in the the audience are showing up, and it feels awesome to be back here.
Yeah.
Support for GDQ is brought to us by viewers like you.
Thank you.
My question does not count as one of the questions, by the way. If somebody has a question,
Yeah, here we go.
this will be our final question, and we'll wrap it up after that, I think.
Sounds good.
This one's for Corvamine. Have you had a chance to reply to Kizaron's slander that all birds are bad people?
Oh my God.
Kizaron and I are not on speaking terms anymore.
All right, so I think we've lost the thread of it. Do you have another actual legitimate question? Go ahead.
But seriously,
You're good.
so does Frost Fatales or any of you in general have like a tie-in with the hot fixes that happened during the week, or is the
Another softball question. I love these. So, wouldn't you know, there's currently a show going on called Tiny Tree Fort. Court and I co-run it, and we just show off Fatales members. It's very fun. Originally, we were showing off former games of the month, and we've expanded the scope of it to just be, hey, let's just have some cool ladies from the server be on the hotfix. You should check it out. It's every other Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, and if anyone in the room is like, wait, I'm a Fatal, and I want to do Tiny Tree Fort, just come up to us after this and ask us.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Then we don't have to find people.
Yeah, fill in the
You
time
found
slots
us.
early, yeah.
All right, I feel like we've been getting more and more unhinged, so I think we're going to wrap it up soon. But are there any final comments that anyone would like to make, starting with you, May?
Nah, I'm good.
All right, Air, over to you.
This panel was actually a lot of fun. This is probably my first panel I've ever done. I've spoken in front of a lot of people before, but this was probably the most enjoyable thing I've ever done. So thank you for making it worthwhile and like kind of fun and cozy. That's like the main vibe of our events and our server is like we're very comfy, cozy, laid back vibe, you know? So thank you for keeping the vibe the same.
Yeah, absolutely. It was cool getting to walk back in the room, and we have like almost a full house, and you all went for like an hour, and that means you had some really great discussions, and Frame Fatales is making a difference in the speedrunning community, and we see that every event, and that's just really special. So thanks everyone for supporting it.
Yeah.
Woo! And thank you, everyone. I will
Okay, no,
show the
clap.
contact slide. We're not done yet. Hold on. Be like 2 minutes to wrap us up, please.
I got excited about the contact information.
Yes. Does everyone want to give a round of applause for contact information? So if you are looking to get in contact with us, obviously you've all seen us now, so you can come approach us at the event. We'll be here, I believe, all week. Here is the other emails that you can reach out to if you have questions, concerns, comments, things like that. If you'd like to say hi to us, any of us after the panel, I'll stick around for a little bit to say hello. And we also have a table running in person this week. So from, I think, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. most days besides finale day, we're going to have a Frame Fatales booth out there. It's the one with the purple tablecloth. Pretty easy to spot. If you're in the Fatales server, that's where you pick up this really cool ribbon. So you can feel free to say hi to us out there as well. But with that, thank you everyone so much for joining us today. Really appreciate the energy and enthusiasm. Really appreciate all the questions. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your GDQ.
Thank you.
You can be excited now. You can be excited now.
Woo!
There we go.
All right.
The clapping stopped. Woo!
So sick.